Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Getting Started with Constant Contact. My name is Kimberly Beer, and I'm going to be your hostess and teacher for today. And I've been an authorized local expert and solution provider with Constant Contact for 5 years. I routinely teach Getting Started classes, and I routinely do Getting Started webinars. As a matter of fact, this one is part of a series of webinars which you've signed up for, which will help you understand better how to use email marketing and Constant Contact specifically. So this morning we're going to pretty well dive right into creating a newsletter inside of Constant Contact. For those of you who don't quite understand what Constant Contact is, maybe you've been to a class and you think, I really would like to use email marketing. And Constant Contact sounds like the way to go, but I'm not really sure how those pieces all fit together. Constant Contact is a software which allows you to create mass marketing emails to go out to a list of people who have opted in to receive email from you. So it's not a way for you to send out emails to people you've never met, but it is a way for those folks who have either come to your business as a client and said that they would like to receive communications from you, or that you have met somewhere and who have said they would like to receive more information or email communications, regular email communications from your company. A couple of keys to making email work for you is to make a basic concept of how you're going to handle email with your clients. For most of my clients, it's sending out an email twice a month. I prefer shorter, more concise emails 2 times a month than a longer email once a month. Most of us read email now on our cell phones, so it's a little bit hard for us to read those really long, in-depth emails. So twice a month is a really good practice for most of my clientele. Once a month may be perfect for you. Maybe once a week would even be better. It depends on your business and how often your clients want to communicate. The way to really make email marketing work for you, however, is to make sure you let whoever is receiving your communications know exactly how often you're going to be communicating with them, what exactly they're going to be receiving. Make sure you make that valuable. So information that they can use or information on things that they're interested in. In our demonstration this morning, we're going to pretend that we are creating an email for Kansas City Pet Project, which is a local no-kill shelter here in Kansas City. And this particular organization is amazing. They've gone from one of the higher kill shelters in the nation to a no-kill shelter, and it is a pretty cool story of how they did it. They do a lot of social media and email marketing to help get information out. They're open admission shelter, which means that they can sometimes get 50 to 100 pets in a day that need to find homes. So it's a huge business with a lot of needs for adoptions, donations, and volunteers. And I think you can extrapolate what we're going to do with the Kansas City Pet Project in creating this email today to your business, whether you do a nonprofit that needs donations or whether you do a business that sells a product or whether you do a business that sells a service. I think you'll kind of get the concept of how we're going to utilize Constant Contact to communicate for the Kansas City Pet Project and how that would relate to your business. So back to Constant Contact. So Constant Contact is the place where you can store your contacts, where you can create your emails, and it has a really cool feature where you can see what has gone on with your email when you send it out. You can look at reports and see who's clicked on what inside the email. And so knowing that we're going to be able to use that last step, there's a lot of things that we can do to create an email that gives us a really good picture of what our customers are interested in, as well as getting them to pull the trigger, so to speak, on making a purchase or signing up for an event or whatever it is that our particular business is offering. So I have already logged into my demonstration account for Constant Contact. All the information in here is dummy information. I do have 76 contacts, I can tell you. I have things like Peppermint Patty in here. So this is not actually a live account, but it is precisely what you're going to see if you've signed up for Constant Contact relatively recently when you log in. If you have been a Constant Contact customer for a period of time, your Constant Contact dashboard, or that screen that you log into, may look a little different than this. There are a couple of versions of Constant Contact running right now, and because we don't like to disrupt your workflow, this is something that you probably, if you've been a client for a while, you may see something different. In this particular case, we are moving to having everyone have a platform that looks similar to this. So I'm not even going to open the older version. In the very near future, for most of you, this is what it's going to look like when you log in. If you do have an older version, everything that we're going to access is under the email and then under create. And once we get into the editing part of things, it's going to look pretty similar. Constant Contact is rolling out a new editor, which is drag and drop and mobile responsive. And you guys will all have access to that fairly quickly, which is very exciting. But for today's demonstration, we're going to stick with the traditional way of creating an email. And don't worry, if you've used Constant Contact and you learn this way to do it, it's still going to be available to you. You will have a choice whether you want to use the new editor or whether you want to use the traditional one, which is the one we're going to use for the demonstration today. So I want to point out a couple of things right here off the bat on the dashboard. For most of you, when you log in, you probably haven't created a lot of email campaigns yet. Maybe you've gotten in here and you've practiced a little bit. So you may have a couple of things listed here. When your account becomes mature and you start sending out emails regularly, the emails that you've sent out or the event spots, if you have Email Plus or whatever it is you're doing inside a Constant Contact, all of your campaigns, which is what Constant Contact refers to as your emails or events or surveys, whatever it is you're sending out. They'll all be listed in a list here. Anytime that you want to return to this particular dashboard screen, if you'll notice where my mouse is up here in the upper left-hand corner, there's the little Constant Contact flag. Anytime that you want to return to this screen, all you have to do is click on that flag and you will be magically transported back to this particular spot. I also want you to note something over here on the far right. If you'll follow my mouse, over here to the far right, there's a little person icon here. Anytime you click on that, that's going to take you to your account and to your subscriptions, to all the information that you need to put in. If you are brand new to Constant Contact, before you send your first email, you're going to have to enter your address. That's part of FCC regulations. In order to send an email out to people, you have to put your physical address on, or your P.O. box, by the way, on your account so people can contact you in a way other than electronic. So you'll need to fill that out, and that is underneath this lovely little person here. So other than that, really what we want to know here is our campaigns live under campaigns. Again, that's anything, whether it's an email or an event or a survey, if you have the Email Plus for Constant Contact. Our contacts live under contacts. We're going to cover all of that in a separate webinar. The reporting is going to tell us what has happened with our emails that have been sent. And again, we're going to cover that in another webinar. And here under library is where we put our imagery. Now we're going to have access to that once we get into the editor. So it's really not anything we need to worry about right here. So again, today we're going to create an email for the Kansas City Pet Project. So the first thing I want to do is I want to hit my big orange create button. Now I can also click here under create a new campaign, but easy, this button is always easy to find. It's always in the same spot. So I'm going to hit create. At that point, Constant Contact is going to say, okay, what kind of a campaign do you want to create? Do you want to send an email? Do you want to collect event registrations? Do you want to create a coupon? What do you want to do? In this particular case, everything I am going to do today is available in the very most basic subscription to Constant Contact. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on send an email. And really and truthfully, that's all I really want to do. Constant Contact does do event registration, so you can utilize it for that, and also surveys and a multitude of other things that really help small businesses grow. But for most of us, email is where it's at, right? So when that comes up, when I click on create and create an email, I am offered a selection of templates. The template is the very first place that you start. Now, a lot of people get tripped up by the template. So don't let that trip you up. Your template is just a jumping off place. You don't have to pick one that is exactly like you want your newsletter to be, because that's the wonderful thing about Constant Contact is it's built on a block system. So you can move things around, you can add things. This basic card flyer email can have 6 or 8 images, and it can have lots of text in it if you want to do that. This is just simply a jumping off point. So while I'm here, I am going to address one thing, and that's for some of you, you're going to start seeing this view new templates in the upper right hand corner of your account. That means that you are now have access to the drag and drop editor. So if you'd like to go play around with those particular templates, they're available up here in the upper right hand corner. Again, we're going to stick with the traditional editor this morning, but because most of you, that's still where you're going to be at today. So you can scroll through these and look through all the various templates that are available, and find one that you feel works for you. If you have a specific industry that you work within, there's a lot of those that are available. There's some great ones for restaurants, all kinds of things. And you can feel free to look through here, but again, do not make this a big decision. In this case, for our demonstration today, we're going to use the referral template. And so I'm just going to go ahead and click on select once I've chosen my template, and that's going to drop me into the Constant Contact editor. Now, the reason I chose this template is it's very, very simple and straightforward, and it's a single column, which is very important for being able to be viewed correctly on a cell phone. Now, Constant Contact's traditional editor, traditional email creation software is mobile friendly. If you use a single column template, it particularly is mobile friendly. It's very close to what is considered mobile responsive. The new editor, the one with the drag and drop, which we'll get to at another webinar, is completely mobile friendly. So mobile responsive. So it actually moves according to the device that it's on. But single column is a good practice. So try to choose a template that is one column. Once I am inside my template, once I'm inside the editor, my template is displayed for me. And the very first thing I need to understand when I'm getting into Constant Contact is that Constant Contact's newsletters or email templates are built off of a block system. So if I scroll my mouse over the top of each of these components as I go through my template, just as it's dropped in, it'll tell me a name for whatever that particular block is, and you'll see it'll outline it in gray. So as I scroll through here, I can see I have a logo block, a title block, a header block, a heading block, a content block. Now, when I scroll over that, I'll get to see a little menu over here to the right. So there's a little bar, or a little four-way tool here. This reminds me of that thing I change my tire with. And when I have a flat tire in my car, I can click and hold, and I can drag my blocks anywhere where I want them to be. So I can drag that block. If I click on the pencil, I'll be able to edit that. We're going to get to that whole step here in a moment. If I want to duplicate that block, I can click on the little copy symbol and I can copy that block. And if I want to delete the block, I can click on the X and I can delete that particular block. Now, your template comes with more blocks than you see right when you open it up. And if you'll look over here to the far left, when we initially drop into our editor, we see the colors and fonts section. And we're going to cover that in a little bit of detail here in a moment, but I want you to know if you click on the blocks, it'll show you the various blocks that go with this particular template. Not all templates have all blocks. So if you open another template, it may or may not have the blocks that are listed for this particular template. One block that I want to make sure I tell you about is the sign up block, and that's this one right here. And I recommend that you always add that to every newsletter that you send out. I'm going to go ahead and click the plus sign. There it is. It's a little join our mailing list block. I'm actually going to bring it down here and drop it here. I'm going to take these two little blocks right on out. But the reason I want to use the join our mailing list block is part of what we really want from our email campaigns is to make them so valuable and so interesting that the folks that are currently on our list want to share that with their friends and associates, depending on what type of business you have. And so this allows people who have come across your newsletter or your email in a way that they aren't really subscribed to it yet, and it gives them an opportunity to subscribe. So I recommend you put your join my list button on every single email that you send out, and it's here under sign up. If you have a template that doesn't have this as a feature, you can just make a button that goes to your sign up list or sign up form. And if that is Greek to you, don't worry, we're going to cover that in another webinar. So we have a basic concept now of how our Constant Contact email is sort of put together. So now that I've explained that, let me tell you the very first thing that you need to do when you get a new template or get a new newsletter or get a new email opened in your editor is to give it a name. Every email that is provided inside of Constant Contact has to have its own specific name. So in this case, it gives you a nice innocuous thing that says campaign created, the date and the time. We want to get rid of that as soon as possible. So we're going to call this pause and clause news. And that's what we're going to call this particular one. So now it has a name that we can understand rather than campaign created. So we have a pretty good indication of what this particular email is about. So the next thing I want to do is I want to get into making this particular email look like it belongs to the company that I am working with. Now you see it's pretty and pink and very photography oriented. And if I look at the Kansas City Pet Project, the Kansas City Pet Project's website is blue and red and brown. Not exactly a good branding match. Branding is incredibly important in marketing. It gives your customers and potential customers a good feeling of security about your organization when they can recognize your brand. So using the same colors over and over again, making sure you use a logo, making sure you use similar language, and that they have an experience that's consistent from online to real person interactions with your business is very important. The more consistent you can make that experience for them, the more likely they are to feel comfortable about spending their money with you, which is exactly what we want. Whether we're selling a product or a service or you're a nonprofit wanting to collect donations, you want your clients and your potential clients to feel comfortable in exchanging currency with you. So obviously we want to use these nice colors that go along with the website to make sure our digital presence and our email looks a whole lot like it does on our screen when they come to the actual website. So we obviously want to get rid of some of those pinks. Now I could spend all day guessing as to what colors blue these are and what color brown, but I'm going to tell you I have a little secret weapon, and it is called, if you're using a PC, ColorCop. So you can go to the website colorcop.net, and this is for those of you using Windows. I'm going to tell you, do not, warning, Deidre Will Robinson, do not use this start download over here to the right. This is some type of free software that is advertising. ColorCop is free shareware, so you don't have to pay for it, but they do take ads, so to be able to pay for the bills. So don't click on the ad. That's this thing over here to the right. You want to come up here to the word download across the top and download from there. We happen to be using a Macintosh for this demonstration today. And for Macintosh, I recommend a product called Color Snapper. And you can see it down here in the lower right in my application toolbar. I also have it already loaded. So let me show you how it works. And I'm going to tell you ColorCop works very similarly, and it has some small instructions that come with the file when you download it. So anytime I want to find a color on the internet, all digital colors or colors that are displayed on our browser have a hexadecimal code that designates that color. It's a really fancy way to say that there's some letters and numbers that tell the computer what the particular color is. So all I have to do is click on Color Snapper, which is already loaded up here in my upper toolbar. I can click on Pick Color, drop my loop over whatever color it is that I want to choose, click, and I have the hexadecimal code. Now the cool part about this is that it's now copied that to my computer's clipboard. So if I come back over here to Constant Contact and I want to turn this top title bar blue, all I have to do is under Color and Fonts is locate Title Background Color, click on it, click on More Colors, highlight the current hexadecimal code, paste in the one that I just got. So I can right click and paste if that's the key, and click on Done. And all of a sudden my little title bar is blue. Pretty cool, huh? So I can also choose to use that brown color. So I'm just going to demonstrate that one more time. By the way, I've just opened multiple tabs in my browser. That's all I've done to be able to switch back and forth. And I recommend that you do that when you're creating your Constant Contact emails. Open Constant Contact in one tab and then open the various websites that you're going to be using or pulling information from in another tab. Back over to Constant Contact. I'm going to open Color Snapper again, click on Pick Color, hesitate my loop over the brown color, click, copies that brown color's hexadecimal code right to my clipboard. I can come back here and I can change my section divider, more colors. Section divider, of course, is going to be that little pink bar right there, which is very shortly going to be brown. Right click and paste for those of you who don't know, Command V or Control V on your keyboard. The way I remember that, by the way, for paste is it's victory. Victoriously I have pasted something, so it's V. And then I'm going to click on Done, and my divider is now brown. Now the really awesome thing is that once you have that first color selection, you're going to be able to change them really easily. Like I want this to be blue, that's my heading text. I can just come here into Recent Colors and click on it, and that now turns blue. I'm going to change each one of these pinks to that blue because that's how I want to brand things. And my coupon border in case I use one, which we're not going to for this. So now my email is already starting to look a whole lot more like it belongs to Kansas City Pet Project. One thing I do want you to know is a lot of times you need to up the point value on the text for your main text. A lot of the designers who create these email templates tend to be under 50 and or under 40. And a lot of you out there have clientele that's over 40. And once you start to hit that 40-year-old range, and I know it's ageist, and I'm sorry, but it's true, you don't read as well as you used to as far as small type is concerned. I recommend that for main links, for main text and main links, that you up that to at least 12 point for the type. And it just makes it so much nicer. Let's face it, if people can't read your emails, they're not going to be able to take action on what's inside the email. So now we have got our basic branding for color done. The next thing we need to do is we need to add in our logo. Obviously, we don't want the Wink logo, correct? So over the next couple of minutes, I'm going to show you 3 different ways to insert imagery into our email. Now it's telling me I have unsaved changes. That's great. I'm going to go ahead and click the save button so everything is happy. Once you start saving your email, Constant Contact pretty well has your back as long as you're making changes outside of a specific block. Inside a specific block, and when I open one of those, I'm going to show you that you definitely have to hit that save button. And if you don't hit the save button, your changes will not be saved. So we're going to start our next little branding exercise by inserting a logo right over the top of the logo that's currently there. For most of you, when you pick a template, this is pretty well where you're going to start. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the block to edit the block. And when I click on the block, you're going to notice a couple of things happen. The very first thing is I get the block highlighted and everything else from my email is dimmed. So it tells me exactly what I'm working on. The next thing that happens is I get this wonderful word processing toolbar here across the top of my block. Now this toolbar is going to allow me to change my fonts. It's going to allow me to do some formatting. If I want to insert a ordered list or an unordered list or a link, or if I want to look at the HTML that goes behind this block, I can do all of that from this handy little toolbar right here. So just a little sidebar about HTML coding. HTML coding is a whole lot like the engine in your car, okay? In this particular case, it's what runs your newsletter, just like the engine in your car runs your vehicle. The mass majority of us should not tinker with the engines in our car. We have a basic concept that it's there, that it has to remain healthy, that we have to keep the oil changed, we have to put gas in it to make it go. But beyond those little simple things, we tend not to do a lot of tinkering around underneath the hood unless we have become a mechanic and understand how to do that. HTML works a whole lot the same way. So I am not a big mechanic. I can get some basic things done under the hood of my car, but there's a lot of things I need to stay away from. And HTML is much the same, because if I go pulling on wires underneath the hood of my car, chances are it's not going to start. The same thing goes with the HTML in your email newsletter. If you go tinkering around with it without knowing a lot about what you're doing, then you probably will end up breaking it. With that said, you're not going to break Constant Contact. So even though I've just given you a warning not to do that, I'm going to tell you if you really want to do it, do it. You're not going to break Constant Contact. Anytime you have a hesitation for anything in creating a newsletter, or matter of fact, for anything in online software, you're not going to break Constant Contact. Go ahead, pull the trigger, see if it works, click on that. See if whatever you're doing and the way that you think that you can do it will actually function. It's not going to break something. The absolute worst thing you're going to do is you are going to lose the newsletter that you're working on. In other words, you're going to mess it up so badly you're going to have to start over again. So that's it. That's the worst thing that can happen. So don't panic. Go ahead, click on things if you want to see how they work. With that said, HTML is one of the least things that I would encourage you to click on, but feel free to click on anything else and see if you can make it do what you think it will do. And chances are it probably will. Anyway, back to our toolbar here. So this toolbar is all of your word processing stuff. The things that you change here are only going to affect this particular block. The colors and things that we changed earlier over here in this left-hand menu bar, which you'll notice has now changed, that affects the email globally. In other words, every time we insert a block now that's a title block, it's going to be blue. So it affects it globally, where this is very block specific. So in addition to this toolbar, you'll notice our little left-hand bar here changed quite a bit as well. Instead of having colors and fonts and blocks, we now have insert, images, and social. So insert is all of the things that you can deposit in your email. We're going to cover image, document link, and we're also going to cover a video link in the demonstration today. But there's also a ton of other things that you can put here. If you have PayPal and you want to sell something directly from your email, you can put in a PayPal payment button. So it'll walk you through all of the steps that you need to go for with that. Forward to a friend. Now that is something I'm gonna hit on when we get to that point in our block, because it's already inserted in the text. But always encourage people to forward your email on to the next person. Greeting is that hello, dear, whatever that you can personalize, and that allows you to do that. You can insert blog content if you have an event or Amazon, or if you have a survey, you can use all of those. Anchor is to send someone from the upper part of your email directly to an article in your email. It's a little bit of an advanced technique, but I do want you to know it's available. So I don't like long emails. I'm going to tell you right up front. I'm going to encourage you not to have more than 3 screenfuls for your email. And when I say screenfuls, that's when you look at it on the mobile phone. You shouldn't have to move your finger up to swipe more than 2 times for any email that you send out. However, if you do have to send out longer emails, and I do have clients that do that, anchors are great because they can let you put a link at the top of the email that people can click on that will go directly to that particular spot inside the email somewhere. So anchors are covered under a more advanced class, but just knowing that it's possible is probably helpful for you. So back to our logo. What we want to do is we want to change this to the KC Pet Project logo. And if there's already an image where you want to insert the image, changing it is pretty simple. When you roll your mouse over any image that's in your template, you'll see a little gearbox appear. All you have to do is click on that gearbox and click on change, and that's going to open your image dialog box. So here I'm going to click on my library. For most of you, this is where your images are going to eventually end up. So you're going to have an opportunity to grab most of your images right from the library. So for once you get them uploaded, this is where you're going to find them. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to locate the KC Pet Project logo. I think I actually want to use this one. So I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click on customize, not insert, but customize, because there's 2 things that I need to do to every image I put into my email. I need to make it clickable and I need to give it an image description. So here is my image dialog box, and to make this image clickable, so it means when someone clicks on it, it's going to go to wherever I tell it to. I'm going to tell it to go to KC Pet Project. By the way, the www is a habit, but it is not necessary anymore. So I'm going to do kcpetproject.org. kcproject.org is probably not going to get it. KC Pet Project. If I want to make sure that that's going to the correct place, all I have to do is click on this little button arrow right here, and it'll open up the page, and I can say, yay, that is the correct one. This is my image size bar here. If I want to make my image bigger or smaller, I want you to note the little triangle here. That triangle is 100%. Stay to the left of the triangle. Don't go to the right of the triangle, because then your image is going to get pixelated because it's going to be enlarged past its pixel resolution. So anything to the left of the triangle. So I'm going to go ahead and put it there. Image description is the second thing I need to add to every image, and I'm just going to say KC Pet Project logo. This is something that people do see, so make sure you put something correct in there. We had a demonstration that we gave in Kansas City, and after the demonstration I was talking about this and how people can see it, and a very, very shy lady came up and said, I am so glad you said that, because I work for a church and I have a very fond pet name for the pastor for the church, and I've been typing it into that box and people probably shouldn't be seeing it. So, and it was called Old Poopy Head. So anyway, hope you get a little of a giggle out of that. But the point to that story is that people can't see this. So don't put things in here. This is not just for you. The caption would go underneath it. The image description is what's displayed when the image is not displayed or while the image is loading. So people can see that. So make sure it's descriptive of what you're putting in and that it is politically correct. Don't call your boss Old Poopy Head. All right, all the rest of this stuff we can accomplish inside of the actual newsletter itself. You can adjust your alignment here. You can adjust your dimensions. By the way, one thing I do say is always keep this little locked. That means if you change a dimension on one side of your equation, so if I change this to 100, it changes this one so that it sizes the image proportionately. One of my biggest pet peeves is when people make an image disproportionate. In other words, they enlarge the length but not the width. It drives me crazy as a photographer. Make sure you always keep that lock changed, and that won't happen to you. So now I've added my two things that I have to add to every image. I've made it clickable, and I've added a description, and I'm going to click on insert. And up here, there is my logo has magically appeared. I'm going to go ahead and click on save. Now this is the save that is so important. So I'm going to click on save. And Constant Contact, chances are, has had my back and saved this email up here at the top. All right. So for those of you who are going, yeah, what did she just do? I'm going to repeat that whole thing right here with this header banner image. Obviously, we don't want baby feet on our Kansas City Pet Project newsletter. As cute as the baby feet may be, that's not what we want to utilize. So I already have a header that I have designed. So let me go ahead and drop that in. Again, I'm going to edit the block. I'm just going to click on it. I'm going to find my gearbox for the picture that's already there. I'm going to click on change. I'm going to come back to my library. I'm going to find the header image that I want to use. In this case, it's going to be this one. I'm going to make sure it's a clickable link. I want it to go again to an http:// is what you want to use. kcpetproject.org. If I want to make sure that works, I click it here. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, the little track button is checked. Always leave that checked, by the way, because that is going to let you know whenever somebody clicks on this, who they are. And that's really important. So we're going to call this KC Pet Project banner, and we're going to click on insert, and boom, there it is. Whoops. And we're going to click on save. And my internet is not behaving. So bear with me one moment. When this happens, so this is a good teaching moment, I'm going to go ahead and click on cancel. I'm going to go ahead and try that one more time. I'm going to click change. Let's go to my library. kcpetproject.org. Banner, click on insert. Oh, yay. Okay, so if this happens to you, what I want you to do is click your save button up here at the top, and then we're going to hit refresh, and we're going to tell it, yeah, go ahead and resend that. And our newsletter is going to come back. And let's just try that one more time. A lot of times this happens if you have an internet glitch of some kind or another. Sometimes that is just happens. And it happens sometimes to us even though when we think we have everything the way it should be. kcpetproject.org, KC Pet Project banner. I'm going to click on insert, and yay, there it's happy. So if that happens to you, don't panic. Again, I just refreshed the page is all I did. Chances are my internet dropped out at some point in there, and that's all I needed to do. Somehow I managed an extra logo up here at the top, which is easy to get rid of, to just click on delete. Go ahead and save that. Okay, so now we've inserted our banner again. We've inserted the banner to go with this email. When you, a lot of people are like, well, that's great. I love the fact that the logo is on there. I like the fact that it's branded, but I don't have Photoshop. I have no idea how you did that. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time to tell you how to use it, but there is a wonderful product called PicMonkey. And PicMonkey, it lets you edit photos like a boss. And it's also free. It's our favorite four-letter word, which is free. So I recommend that you go to PicMonkey.com. It will let you put words over your image. It lets you do some image editing. It lets you achieve graphic greatness by creating all kinds of different designs. It is an amazing little piece of software. It does not provide you with the photos, but if you have a photo that you want to put words over, or you have a photo that you want to do some cropping or editing to, it allows you to do that. It is so powerful. I can accomplish most of the things I would accomplish in Photoshop inside of PicMonkey that I'm going to utilize into an email. So I recommend that you go stop by PicMonkey and have a look around, play with it, edited a few photos. Again, it is free, and it's not just a free trial. The royal version of it, and I'm going to tell you, even the paid version of PicMonkey is not pricey for what it does. So go check it out and make sure that you have PicMonkey in your arsenal of tools to be able to create images for your emails. So that's how you could create this. You just basically take an image, put it in PicMonkey, and then you can do what's called an overlay and overlay your logo on that particular image. Now, what I want to do next is I want to highlight a particular animal that is up for adoption, and then I'm going to show you the another way that you can insert an image from your computer, as well as insert an image directly from a website. So in this newsletter, we're going to feature two animals that are up for adoption. We have a cat named Moose, and we have a dog named Mabel that we're going to encourage people to adopt. So here we're going to change our header to meet the pets up for adoption. Now, this could be you talking about your products that are available. Now, you'll notice I just typed right over the top of that. That's all you have to do to be able to change text inside of a block. Now, this block here, we're going to want to highlight. We'll highlight Mabel first. She's the dog. So I clicked on the block, and you'll notice I want to put a picture of Mabel in here, right? Because that's the way I'm going to get people to adopt her. But there's no picture that I have in my template because they didn't create a template for Kansas City Pet Project. So guess what? All I have to do is click my cursor exactly where I want it to go. That's the blinking thing right here. If I wanted my image to appear in a different place, like next to the EN Experience, I could click there as well, but I want it right at the beginning. So the rule here is to put your cursor where you want your image to drop in at. The top of it, whether I want it to the left, to the right, or in the center, this is where I'm going to be, and then I'll align the image accordingly. Now I can go ahead and click on the image up here. Now I'm going to go away from Constant Contact for a moment and click back on Kansas City Pet Project. Here's Mabel. Here's who I want to highlight. She's this little cute little dog smiling at the camera here. I'm going to click on her picture, and that's going to open her details. And I want this photo right here of Mabel because I think it's the cutest one. So I'm going to right click on that photo, and I'm going to choose Copy Image Location. And when I do that, my computer is going to save the location of that image, or the URL, which your trivia for today, that stands for Uniform Resource Locator. It's basically the address of where that image lives. If I go to another browser window and I paste what the computer copied to my clipboard in, there's my image. So I'm going to come back over to Constant Contact, and instead of my library, I'm going to choose Image URL. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to paste it in, and I'm going to click on Preview. There's Mabel. Okay, a couple of things I need to do. First of all, I want to make sure that when they click on Mabel's picture, that it goes directly to Mabel's description. So I'm going to go ahead and come here to the page. I'm going to grab that Uniform Resource Locator, or URL, from Mabel's information page. I'm going to copy it, come back over to Constant Contact, and I'm going to paste it into the make a clickable link. Then I'm going to put Mabel the dog, and I know that the picture is going to come in too big, so I'm going to resize it smaller, and I'm going to leave the alignment off for right now. Click on insert. So if you have a product, this is the perfect thing for you to do. Let's say you sell bouquets. You're a florist. Take a picture of the bouquet that you want to sell. It's on your website, chances are. Just grab the image location from your website, come over here, drop it in, make sure that when they click on it, they go directly to that picture. Make sense? Okay, so this is typically what will happen to you when you put an image in. We don't obviously want all of this ugly white space over here. White space is good in a newsletter, but in this particular instance, we'd like to have that type more up at the top. So I can didn't set the alignment. None means that it just kind of wraps around it. So if I click on my little gearbox, I can come down here to alignment and tell it that I want it to align left, and that brings my text up here to the top. Now, Mabel happened to have a description here, so I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to copy that description directly from the website and come back over here and paste it over the top of this. Boom. And there's Mabel's description. Now, I want to put in a link that says learn more about Mabel, because not everybody will know enough to click on Mabel's photo to learn more about her. So I need to add a link. I want to highlight what I want the people to click on. Then I'm going to come up here to my chain. I can also come to my link here, but I'm going to use the chain here. That's going to open my insert link dialog box. And I still have that same, oops, we don't have that same, let's go back. Let's go grab Mabel's URL again. Okay, come back here and paste, and there's Mabel's direct URL. I may want to do some styling here. I may want to pick the pretty blue that I've chosen, and I also maybe want to make that bold. I'm going to click on insert, and now when someone clicks on this, they're going to go directly to Mabel's page. I am, however, going to leave the forward to a friend. I'm just going to change forward Mabel to a friend. I may want to put a little line in there that makes it make a little more sense that those aren't the same link. So forward to a friend, what that does is let somebody forward this particular email to a friend. I'm going to go ahead and click on save. So let's review to learn how those two things work. And we're also going to learn another thing about Constant Contact. You can preview what you want what your newsletter is going to look like when it appears in someone's email box by clicking on this preview button right here. So when I preview, it's going to give me a preview screen and all my links are going to work. So just so you know, look at this. See how my cursor turns to a hand when it's over the picture of Mabel? That means if I click on it, it's going to open it. Here is learn more about Mabel. I'm going to click on that and it goes right to her page. Yay, that works correctly. And then forward to a friend, when I click on that, and you'll notice this is test only, it shows me what would happen if I clicked on that as a user, and it lets me put my name in and then forward the email to some of my friends that I know their email addresses. Pretty cool, huh? Let's go ahead and click on X to close that. So here's Mabel. Mabel is now inserted and ready to go. Now there's one other way that you'll want to insert information about or insert an image, and that's from your computer. And I'm going to show you for that for Moose the cat. So we're going to go about it just the same way we did for Mabel. We're going to put our cursor where we want the image to appear, and then I'm going to click on my little add image icon up here. Instead of going to my library or image URL, I'm going to float over here to the right and click on upload file. Then I'm going to be able to browse my computer, and I happen to know that they're living right here. I am going to find Moose. There's Moose. Moose is adorable. And I'm going to click on upload file. Now again, I want to do two things when I get that image in my image box. I want to make it a clickable link to Moose's page, which means I'm going to go back here. I'm going to find Mr. Moose. Thankfully, they've made that easy for us. and I'm going to grab his URL. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to paste it in and then put Moose the cat. And if I want to make sure I'm going to put it on the right hand side instead of the left, I can do that here for alignment. Click on insert and there's Moose. This text would be about Moose. I'd of course want to put in my link back to Moose again. Beautiful. So now I have my animals that are up for adoption. So one other thing that I want to do is I want to make sure in every email that I send out that I direct people to other online resources. Part of what you use your email for is to get people to do the things that you want them to do if they were to come to your website. And so I like to use this little title bar. Instead of it being a title bar, I like it to be an action bar. So in this case, there are 3 things that the Kansas City Pet Project would really like you to do. They would like you to adopt a pet, they would like you to volunteer, and they would like you to donate. And one other thing that really we need to do in every email that we send out is we need to make sure that we put the business name somewhere in the text. Because when it's hidden in logos, sometimes those logos don't show. So we want to make sure we put that information out there in text somewhere. So I'm going to put KC Pet Project, Casey's No Kill Shelter. So here's my list. I want these 3 words, these 3 verbs to go to their respective pages on the website. So I want this one to go to the page where you can adopt an animal. I want the one for donate to go to the page that talks about donations, and I want the one for volunteer to go to the page for volunteers. So back in my Constant Contact newsletter, to do that, I'm going to do the links very similarly to what I did down here about Mabel. I'm going to highlight the word that I want to become the link. Then I'm going to click on my little chain, or I'm going to insert the link right here. So I'm going to click on the chain. And then I'm going to go to the URL on my website. I'm going to right click and copy that, come back here, and I'm going to paste that in. Now I want you to notice that I made that pretty blue for Mabel. Constant Contact remembered that, and now it's blue, but my menu bar is blue, so it's not going to show up. So I need to change it to white. Now again, the only changes I'm making here are block specific, so it's not going to change this one down here. It only changes it here. I'm going to do that 2 more times. Volunteer, so there's donate, this is volunteer. I'm going to highlight, copy, come back over here, click my chain. Now it's saved that for this one. I'm going to go ahead and click on paste. So my styling is saved. Click on insert. One more time for donate. Okay, highlight what I want. You can do this kind of in any order. Find my page, right click, copy, come back over here, click on my chain and click on paste and insert and save. Now my action bar is really handy, so when someone gets this email, right at the very top are the things that I want it to do. If you have a business that has products, you might want to put go shopping in this particular action bar. If you are looking for donations for your nonprofit, you may want to put donate in there. If you have a service business, you may want to put schedule a free consultation, whatever you want to do. All right. So next thing I want to do to my email is I want to insert a video. One thing we know when it comes to sending out emails is valuable content counts, and videos are hugely important for that. To insert a video, I'm just going to insert a content block of any kind. I just need a basic block jumping off point. So, and I'm going to say a little bit of something about my video. So I'm going to click on the block and I'm going to say, learn what it means to be a volunteer at KC Pet Project. Okay, watch this. We're going to just say 5-minute video. It's good to tell people how long they're going to be investing in watching a video. So if it's a short video in particular, put that in. So the video that I want is this video right here. And when I hesitate over it, I see my little YouTube logo. So I know that this video is on YouTube. I can't really send a video inside of an email. You can't send an audio file that way either, but you can link to where that particular video or audio file is on the web. In this case, it's a video file. So I need the URL for this particular video, not this page, but for this video. See this little button right here for share? If I click on that, it's going to give me the URL. So I'm going to go ahead and going to copy that, copy link location. So if I come back over here and I paste it in, it's going to go right to the video on YouTube, which is what I want. I'm going to pause that real quick before we have to listen to the commercial. And so now I have my video's URL copied to my clipboard. So now I'm going to come up here to video link rather than image. I'm going to click the plus button. And I'm going to paste that link right here into the video link. I'm going to click create image. Now, Constant Contact does not put the video in the email. What it does is creates a picture based on the thumbnail that YouTube is using for that video, puts a nice little universal triangle over it, which for all of us means play, and it will drop that in with a clickable URL, just like we'd click on Mabel's picture to go to that video on YouTube. So it takes up very little space. So I'm going to go ahead and click on create image. Oh, sorry, click on insert. And there's my video inserted into my email. So if I come back up here to preview, I want to show you how this works. If I come here and click on that, it's going to open it in YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and close that before it starts playing. And back to our email. So one other thing that I do want to show you how to insert is a PDF file, because a lot of you are going to want to insert white papers and valuable content that you don't want to put in the email. So I do want to go over that. I'm going to insert another block just like I did with the video. I'm going to give them a prompt that says download our dog training PDF. Now, you might want to make it a little more enticing than that, but for the demonstration, this is all we need. You can upload documents, PDFs, just like you do any image. You can put it in your library. I'm going to click on document link. It's going to change it to documents. Here's the upload a new document. I'm going to go ahead and click on basic dog training and click on insert. Now when someone, I want to change that color to my pretty blue and make it bold. I may even want to center that up a little bit. So I'm going to click on save. Now when someone clicks on that in the email, it will download that PDF to their computer, and chances are it'll open it in Acrobat and they'll be able to read it. One other caveat about these little stay connected buttons down here, the template that you choose a lot of times will have a big variety of these. Don't feel like you have to have all of those social networks. If you don't use LinkedIn, all you got to do is come here and delete it. So if you don't use Pinterest, just clean that up a little bit by deleting a few spaces, and your social icons are good to go. You will need to hook these to your appropriate social accounts at least one time. And I recommend every time you send a newsletter that you always click on them and check them. All of your social accounts will have a direct URL. In this case, for KC Pet Project, it's facebook.com KC Pet Project. So I can verify that and come up here, copy it, come back to Constant Contact, open this, click on change, and then you can see the link goes to Constant Contact's website. That ain't gonna work. So here, I want the smaller of the icons. I think it's that middle one. Click on insert, and now this will actually go to the Facebook page. I would want to make sure I did that for Twitter and YouTube as well. So go ahead and click on save. Again, I'm going to come up here to the top and click on save. One other thing I need to take care of before I send this is I need to put in my subject line and make sure all of this is all taken care of. So we may want to enter, how do you make a dog smile? Questions are really good for your for your subject lines. So our numbers. So we might want to put in our pre-header text, KC Pet Project News for July. The pre-header text is the text that people see above the subject line, particularly on cell devices. You want to make sure that you put in a name of a person they know at the business. You want to pick the person that's most recognizable. We're going to just pretend it's Callie the cat. You can also verify multiple email addresses, so you can send from a specific address. If you choose to send from a specific address and there's multiple ones, you can also choose to reply to a different address by unchecking this. The permission reminder drops in some permission text above the top that says, hey, you're getting this newsletter because it's a good idea to send that out maybe once a year if you feel like your list needs it, or if it's been a long time since you've sent email to them. I always like to use a web page version because I like to use that on my Facebook page. This will give you a web page that you can click on and then you can share in various places. It's just your email in a web page, basically. And then I always turn on the social share links as well. I'm going to click on OK. All of that stuff goes up here in the header. So now our newsletter is pretty well ready to go. So within less than an hour, we have created an email that is ready to go out. If I want to go ahead and schedule it, I just need to click on the word continue. Constant Contact lets you schedule your emails out into the future if you want to do that. If I have my email here, my send to lists, I have to choose lists to go to. So I'm going to just go ahead and send to April adopters. Click on save. You can choose one list. You can choose multiple lists. If a person is on more than one list and they will only get one copy of the email because Constant Contact knows who they are. I'm going to click on schedule for later, pick a date out in the future, and Constant Contact has a great best time to send for this particular industry. Maybe, maybe not. I'm okay with it. I'm going to send it at 6 o'clock a.m. on 7/20, and then I can go ahead and click on schedule. Once the email is scheduled, I can't edit it anymore, and it'll be good to go and it'll get ready to be sent out. If I go back and let's say I have a good friend who says, I see a typo in your newsletter and I've sent him a test and I want to go back and edit that, I'm going to go ahead and click on I'm done. I will need to unschedule this particular newsletter. So to do that, it's here. I can see my scheduled mark. I can click on actions and I can click on unschedule. And then at this point, I can just say I'm done and with the unscheduling. And at that point, I'll be able to go back to my dashboard. And I'll notice that it should say, of course it doesn't cooperate. I'm going to go to unschedule. Have to go one step of actions here. Unschedule. Now it is unscheduled. It's been refreshed back to draft status. If I go back to my dashboard by clicking on my little flag here, it should say it is a draft status. And if I want to edit it from here, all I have to do is click on actions and edit, and it's going to load everything that I've done back up in my editor, and I'm ready to get in there and make changes. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Some really common questions that I get about email marketing are pretty simple. How often do I send it? I've already talked to you about that. I like my clients to send out short emails twice per month. For many of you, once per month is going to work. Some of you once per quarter. Some of you every day. Some of you once a week. It depends on your customers and what they expect from you. Ways to get your emails opened, really work on those subject lines, make them entrancing. You have great insight on this. You know what gets you to open a marketing email. So think about what gets you to open up your email. As far as content is concerned, less is more and valuable. So short communications. We all are busy. Make sure you communicate in a very concise manner. Don't put the whole article in. You want to make sure you put links in there, and design your links, because you get that reporting, which is we're going to cover in another webinar down the road. Make sure you tweak your newsletter so you know what people are interested in. So if you have a new product that you're rolling out and you feature it in your newsletter, you may want to feature it with maybe a product that is one step up and one step below. And then when people click on those, you'll know who clicked on what one. Even if they don't purchase, you'll know who clicked on it and showed interest in it. So you can kind of see where your new product ranks in those things. So you can set up all kinds of fun experiments to get a better idea of your audience and your consumers and what it is that they're looking at. Again, thank you so much for attending today. If you have a question, please feel free to go ahead and ask that. If I don't have time to answer it by the end of our close of time today, or if you are, sometimes the delay on the computer makes things a little bit hard for asking questions in the webinar format. So if you type something in and I don't get to your question, I will email you the answer to that question. So please feel free to ask, and I will respond back to you via comment. Thank you so much for attending today. Have a great day. Go out there and create your first email.